Good morning, I'm Brother Jason, and this is the Baptist Catechism. Question 59 asks us, what is the third commandment? The third commandment is, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. That comes out of Exodus chapter 20, verse 7. That commandment tells us some things about God. He doesn't want us to take his name in vain. And when God revealed his name to Moses asked him, tell me your name, and God said, I am that I am. And in that word, the four-letter word that is in Hebrew written as God's name, YHWH, in our language, it reveals that God is the self-existent one, the one who has all the power and control and authority. He's the one who is. He's the one who is existence. He was always been. He always will be. There's never going to be a point that God isn't. Created time for us to dwell within. He created everything that we experience within this world. Everything that we have as part of this life is there because of what God has already done. So we need to understand who God is. Don't take his name in vain. It's not just taking the name of God and throwing a curse word behind it. Obviously, there are many people who only view this commandment as a prohibition against cursing or vulgarity. It's beyond this. It's actually way beyond this. There's much, much more to it than just that. So when we say that it's in vain, what we're saying is that something that's in vain is something that's worthless or empty, has no good purpose. We're forbidden from taking up the name of God for a forbidden or worthless practice. If we ascribe the name of the Lord as something that is worthless and unholy and impure, we're saying that God's name is that worthless, unholy, and impure thing. If we take it up in a manner that's wicked or for the wrong purposes, then we're taking it in vain. There are many churches that ascribe to the Lord. They say that we're following the Lord. They have a form of godliness, but they deny the power. That is a form of taking God's name in vain. God's not going to hold anyone guiltless who takes his name in vain. He will judge. He sees it. Even Jesus, who was healing people as he was on the earth, many of the scribes and Pharisees were attributing Jesus's healing power to Beelzebub, to the devil, the Lord of the Flies. And Jesus said, God's not going to hold them guiltless. That was a blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. They were blaspheming God's name. Literally, Jesus is the name of God. They were blaspheming Jesus by saying that Jesus, who is God, was healing people and raising the dead by the power of Satan. And so they were ascribing what is of the Lord to some other God. Israel fell in this many times. They began to worship Baal. They began to worship Ashtoreth. They began to worship Molech. They worshiped other gods in the place of the true God. They were taking the name of the Lord their God in vain. They were doing this in the temple of God, and they were setting up images to all sorts of starry hosts and taking the name of God in vain. It to them became a worthless thing. What is the third commandment? The third commandment is, you shall not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain.